Hello, my name is Rachel, and I'm so honored to be with you all this week for Morning Manna. This week, I've been talking about the act of pursuit and what it means to live a life of pursuing what the Lord has given you and where He has placed you. Today, I'm going to talk about pursuing unity. I think it goes without saying that we are living in very interesting times. God has created each person to be special and unique with specific giftings and talents. This also means that each person has their own thoughts and opinions. And lately, the opinions seem endless and many times invasive. We don't always ask for others' opinions, and many times we feel bombarded by them. As Christians, we understand that God has called us to live a holy and blameless life as we strive to be like Him. But with that being said, we know that sin entered and thus we live in a fallen world. And the world is doing a great job at creating havoc in relationships by force-feeding us opinions that don't coincide with God's Word. Now, sharing your thoughts or feelings on a matter with someone else is not necessarily a sin, unless you're gossiping. But it's what it stems from that the feelings that can easily start the downward spiral to sin, such as anger and bitterness. So think about when it's storming and lightning outside. You wouldn't go outside and find a metal pole to hug or a tree to stand under. You stay inside where it's safe and calm. And just like that, avoiding putting yourself in a situation where you might accidentally say the wrong thing is the wisest thing to do. As Christians, our words have a lot of power. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 3 says, "Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin." Now, please hear me out. There are definitely times as Christians that we do need to speak up. If someone is in harm's way or putting someone else in a situation that they don't need to be in, that is not the time to stay quiet. Galatians chapter 6, verse 1 says, "If someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently." And Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15 says, "We are to speak the truth in love." Something that is so important to remember is that people who have not been raised around God's Word, they don't have the same biblical knowledge that we as Christians have. So our job is to share Christ's love with them and point them towards Him. Sadly, social media platforms have made it far too easy to hit that reshare button. If what we want to say doesn't show God's light in us and muddles up others' opinions on Christians, then we shouldn't say it after all. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29 says, "Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen." There are a lot of hurting people in the world, and if we don't show them the love of Jesus, who will? And that goes for our local communities as well. There are so many ways to share the love of Jesus with them. So embrace your season and your calling to your community. God placed you where He placed you on purpose, and He wants to use you to bring others towards Him. It's our job to create a safe place for those who are hurting, to feel accepted and loved, and we need to make sure that our words and our actions don't push them the opposite way. Jesus commands us in John chapter 13, verse 34 through 35 when He says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another, just as I have loved you. You also are to love one another. By this all people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." Let's seek to share God's love with those around us and be the ones to point others towards Him. Manna Church, you do such a great job at showing our community that you love them. Hashtag Red Shirt Mafia. And I'm so proud to be part of such an amazing church. I love you all. Until tomorrow.